Hello. Good leaders are the product of good leaders, and bad leaders are the product of bad leaders as well. You are either a good leader or a bad leader. Whatever kind of leader you are only so categorized by the leader that you followed. If you claim to be a leader and we don't know who you followed, you are good, you are not good or bad, then you're most likely an impostor and therefore a fraud. No fruit exists without us being able to trace it to a seed. Every fruit is the product of a seed. That's what leadership is. That's what leadership is about. And so you understand from the very onset that you can't lead, you should not lead, you shouldn't be tempted to accept the responsibility of leadership if you haven't first followed. If you haven't first followed. And so today, I'm speaking on the subject, following to lead. Following to lead. And my name remains Olatunji Shobodu, your anchor on Leadership Monday. It's Leadership Monday, and I'm here to hand you another nugget to help you do leadership right. And this comes to you from Emet Leadership Academy, where I'm founder and CEO, and our commitment at Emet is to nurture leaders based exclusively on truth. And truth, for avoidance of doubt, for us is found nowhere else than in the Word of God. So welcome. So I'm speaking to that subject. Simple, but it's crucial. Following to lead, or follow to lead. It's particularly important in today's day and age where many especially believe in the concept of independence. And for them, independence means we don't take a cue, we don't learn from anybody else. We believe that we can figure things out. We'd like to do things our way. Whatever anybody else has done before, it's they have not done things right. They have virtually done everything wrong. And so we want to get things done properly. The truth is this: you cannot become a leader of worth, a leader that has any value to add to people without paying your dues. And paying your dues is following a leader. You must be the product of a leader in order for you to lead. That's how leadership works. Nobody appears on the scene to lead. People go through a process of being made into leaders. That's why Jesus made it very clear. And he said, follow me and I will make you. Follow me and I will make you. And that's not a statement that you can ignore. Why? Because that's a man who led a team of 12. At least we know that team grew, over time. But his focus was on the 12. And there is no argument about how successful he was, especially with regard to the impact of the work of the 12, excluding one, who was replaced by another from the larger group, and the impact of the 12 is still being felt today. That's what leadership is about. Those fellows were made. Those fellows from different backgrounds. Some of them were fishermen, some were tax collectors. They were made, all right, into leaders, and they were given the mandate to go ahead and continue the work. All right, that's what leadership is about. The concept still holds true today and is something that any wise person should not depart from. If we're still feeling the impact of the work of a leader, who was here 2,000 years ago, today, why should I learn from anybody else? I should learn from that person and from all of those who have benefited from that chain of leadership development, that, as it were, leadership pipeline, as Noel Tichy, explained it. Leadership is about creating a pipeline of leaders where one leader grooms others and others go ahead to groom others. So it's a pipeline that is vital for the health and the progress of society, because it supplies society with that vital input that is required, without which no society can succeed, and that is good, credible leadership. That is good, credible leadership. So it is imperative that for you to lead, you must first of all follow. You must first of all follow. And there are many leaders today who have really not followed, because following does not just mean that I'm reporting to somebody. Following doesn't just mean that I am working with somebody. Okay? Following is a lot deeper than that. And if you are not following, if all you are doing is working with somebody, if all you are doing is just recognizing that somebody is the head of your team or your department, and so you are working together, if that's all you are doing, I have news for you. You can't benefit from that kind of arrangement. You can't become a leader just because you work under me. The fact that you work under me does not mean that tomorrow you go out there and you carry your shoulders, or you are, quick to embrace leadership responsibility. Why? Because you may not have been produced into a leader under me. Why? Because there are minimum prerequisites that you must fulfill to qualify as one who has followed. And quite frankly, no leader can help you to maximize what he or she has to offer without you following, truly following. It's not, interestingly, in the hands of the leader what you benefit from the leader. And guess whose hands it's in? It's in your hands. Why? Because until you follow, you can't benefit. Until you truly follow a leader, you can't benefit. The leader can make himself available, accessible. It can do everything that he or she needs to do to convince you to follow. Indeed, that's where the leader's responsibility is. If the leader does that, carries out that responsibility very well, then chances are that the people will commit. Chances are that especially, the serious ones will commit and will follow. All right. But it's not, no leader can beat his or her chest, and say, I will make you follow. Even in that statement that Jesus made, follow me and I will make you, it was an offer that he made to those people. He didn't he didn't command them. That statement was not a command. That statement was an offer. That statement was him giving the people a privilege. That statement was giving them the opportunity to make their choice. He knew that it was going to be up to them. After all, somewhere down the line, all right, he told some people to follow him, and they were given excuses. Says, sir, wait a minute. Let me quickly go and bury my dead. Some say, oh, I just bought, some oxen, some cows. Let me test them to make sure that, they'll get the job done. And then I'll come and follow you. He said to them, you guys, you don't know what we're talking about. So we don't know what you're talking about. He said, look, let the dead bury the dead. What was he saying there? He was giving them a sense of what it takes to follow. All right. It's not something you mouth, it's something that you do. It's an attitude that you bring to bear in your relationship with the leader. Following is serious business. Following is very, very serious business. Many people are not following today. Many people are just going through the motions. Many people are working colleagues with the leaders. They are not followers. All right. And the leadership relationship is not a colleague kind of relationship. All right. Yes, if the leader wants to humble you, you are colleagues. But let's be frank. The one who benefits the most from a leadership relationship is the follower. The leader is not primarily looking to benefit from the follower. It's the follower that must bring himself to the point where he's able to take full delivery, all right, of everything that a leader has to offer. Elisha was not a colleague of Elijah. All right. If he treated Elijah as a colleague, he will go empty handed. But he understood exactly the nature of their relationship, that he was the one following. He was the one who had something more to gain from Elijah, all right, than Elijah had to gain from him. And he was so committed. He was so dogged. He defied every attempt to distract him from following the master, his leader. And he ended up getting everything that he desired. In fact, much more than the leader could give. Do you know what's interesting in that arrangement? When Elijah asked him, tell me what you want, he said, I want a double portion. Elijah didn't think that that was possible. What? A double of what I have? I mean, I thought you are supposed to be benefiting from me. How do I give you double of what I have? How do you get double of what I have? That's why at times it's not quite correct when people say that you can only give what you have. Elijah couldn't have given double of what he had. All right, if that statement is true. But the guy went away with double of what Elijah had. All right, so it tells you that, first of all, what you benefit from a leader, how much of a leader you become yourself, is entirely up to you. It depends on the quality of your following, and therefore the quality of your expectation from the relationship, all right, from following your master, okay, your leader. It works. Forget that, this is a religious context. That's how it works. These are principles of life. Jesus himself said, he said, look, any one of you who follows me, he said, the works that I do, he will do. And then he went on to say, and greater works than these will they do. So leaders produce or reproduce in their followers the capacity to do what they do and to do even more. That's the excitement about leadership. When you produce leaders as a leader, they must have benefited so much from you that their accomplishments will trump yours. Their accomplishment would trump yours. Someday I will speak about the dynamics, how that is the case. But that's not our focus, so it doesn't take me away from the point that needs to be registered today. So you understand that is crucial. You understand that it's impossible for you to be made into a leader without following one. Without following one. And the demands for following is crucial. Jesus said something in Luke 14. If you look at it, 26 and 27. Very instructive statement. very brutal, if you like, truths. And some can respond by saying, I mean, who does this man think he is? All right, particularly in today's, world and today's youth. Who does this fellow think he is? He said to them point blank, he said, you cannot be my disciple if you don't hate your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters. All right? If you love them more than me, you can't be my disciple. Said you can't be my disciple. What was he saying? He wasn't saying that you should hate in the sense that we know hatred. He was saying that let's be clear about this relationship. You can't qualify as a follower. You can't qualify as a follower if you don't place me at top priority in your life. If you don't put my words, my instructions, my demands as first priority, you are not following. That's what commitment requires. That's what commitment requires. So you ask yourself, how many members of my team are truly following? How many members of my team will I say are committed? How many members of my team will rather do what I say than, any other thing anybody says? How many members of my team will put their own interest, will subordinate their own interest to mine? But that's what true following is about. It's about, where do you put your leader? Where do you put the instructions of the leader? And that is particularly so. In terms of what he was saying, you have to love me. Look, what did he say about love? He said, the one who loves me is the one who obeys my commandments. That is the one who obeys my instructions. The basis for the leader-follower relationship and what makes transformation happen, what facilitates the transfer of whatever the leader has to offer the follower, are the instructions, the words of the leader. The words of the leader. So the idea that you should hate others is simply that whatever I say, you should do. Whatever you truly want to follow a leader, you do it with all your heart. You are fully committed to it. That's what it takes. It's not about whether you like it or not. You certainly won't like a lot of it, I guarantee you. But that's okay, because the leader is taking you on a journey. You don't know the route. All right. So, some parts of that journey, they are bound to be rocky. But it's for your own good. It's for your own good. That's why Jesus spoke to certain people. They said, look, who can bear this? This is a hard saying. They left him. He said, look, if you're offended, you can leave. Another group he turned to, he said, look, are you guys also, do you want to leave? Why? Because following is optional. Leading is mandatory. Following is optional. It's up to the one who is following to actually align himself such that he or she can be transformed after the order of the leader. Okay, so that's the point that, he was making. That's the point that he was making. And it's a very instructive point. It's a challenge in today's world. Everyone wants to do his own thing. Everyone wants to call the shots. Everyone wants to lead. Everyone believes that they have what it takes. No, they don't have what it takes. Leaders are made. They are made through committed following. He said there is a condition for the making of anyone into a leader. Follow me, and then I will make you, or if you like, in return, I will make you. For avoidance of doubt, we are making clear what it means to follow. And while we're at it, there is nothing proud in a leader demanding following is wise counsel to whoever is in your team, to make them understand that membership of the team alone does not qualify them to benefit from what you have. No. You can mark time, you can presence, availability does not equate following. Following is expressed in the quality of commitment to the instructions of the leader. That's how it is expressed. That's how it is expressed. That's how it is expressed. That's why you wonder, a lot of people, the fact that they have worked with leaders or they have been in a team, and they end up being promoted to head a team, to head a unit, to head a department. And then the surprise comes. They are messing up. They are messing up. And people are wondering, but you worked under this fellow. You worked under this fellow. How come, you are unable to manage this function? Well, the reason is simple. While they worked under others, they worked not as followers because they lacked commitment to the instructions of those leaders. And so they couldn't have benefited. So those who promoted them into leadership functions, all right, were fooled because they equated presence in a team to following. And presence does not lead to transformation. Presence under a leader does not reproduce you as a leader. Only following, only true following will do that. It is impossible, therefore, for you to truly follow me as a leader. And if I'm a good leader, for you to show up as a bad leader. It's impossible. It is impossible. Why is it impossible? Because a good tree can never produce a bad fruit. Just as a bad tree can never produce a good fruit. Why is that the case? Because what the leader has to offer is who is he. So the good in me is what I have to offer people following me. That's what they are going to take away. They can't take away bad from me. If they ever reflect bad later in life, they did not follow me. They did not follow me. And the case is vice versa. The case is vice. And that tells you, for example, that it is serious business to follow. So you ask yourself, how do I even know who to follow? How do I know the good leader to follow? And I'll give you a very quick guide. There are two things that you may want to take interest in. Again, stemming from the principle that I've just, talked about. The first is to find out who trained this leader. Who did this leader follow? The leader has to be a product of somebody. If somebody cannot acknowledge himself to be a product of a particular person, then be wary of committing to them. That's why some time ago I was talking about something that Tony Elumelu, published, where he was speaking about a CEO that he had worked with, in his days at All States Trust Bank. He was talking about Chief Banigo and what he learned from him and how he still puts those things to use today. And people are wondering, why are you able to walk like this? And he's able to point to where he got it from. That was an indication that while he was under the leadership of the man, he followed. He followed. That's why he was able to pick up those attributes. That's why he still maintained those attributes till today. Till today. And if the concept we talked about, greater works is anything to go by. Can anyone compare the size of what he has accomplished, today with whatever that leader accomplished? Okay, even though whatever he has accomplished doesn't make him greater than his leader. All right, because we must understand that a servant will never be greater than the master, even though a servant can do greater works than the master. The simple is very simple, in case so that you're not confused about that statement. Everything that anybody I produced as a leader goes on to accomplish will count as part of what I accomplished. Why? Because everything he's using, he collected from me. That makes a lot of sense. That's why the fact that you are a leader is that you were produced by somebody is no big deal. There's nothing to, carry your shoulders about. The Bible makes it clear. It said, there is nothing that you and I have that we have not received. And if we have received it, what's the idea of, becoming proud? No. All right. But it's something to celebrate. So you need to be. That's the first thing that you need to find out. Who trained this person that, you're following? Who trained this person? The second thing is, who has this person trained? So in a sense, you look back at where this person is coming from, and then you also look forward. All right? As what has this person accomplished? So the first thing, who trained you, sir? We must be able to trace every leader to someone under whom they served, or perhaps many people under whom they served at different times, each of whom had the opportunity of adding value to their lives. And they must reflect. You can't walk under me. You can't commit to following me and not reflect my attributes in you. It's impossible. Why? Because what I have, what you have to benefit from me is what's inside me. I'm not going to pick up anything from anywhere to come and deposit into you. No. So in the sense, leadership is about taking from me and adding to what you have so that you are better off than who you are. That's what it's about. So it gets interesting when people say they are leading and they don't want to produce somebody like themselves. What do you mean? So what are you developing the person to become? What are you sharing with the person? All right? What value are you adding to the person? No. Leadership is about reproducing your key attributes, because that's what you have to offer. And that does not mean that you are changing the person into something else. That does not mean that the person will lose their identity or their personality. No. It's people who don't understand the concept that are fearful, that think that that's what it's about. And that's not what it's about. So, two things that must interest you before you commit to a leader. And these are the two things also when we're trying to choose leaders in elections and stuff. The questions we should be asking is where you've coming from. Who can vouch for you that you walked under them, that you submitted to them, that who you are today is because of what they invested in you. And then we would ask the question, who are those leaders that you have produced? What do they look like? All right. They are two key indicators that will tell you whether or not to commit to somebody as a leader, because commitment is costly. Commitment is demanding. Following is not piece of cake by any means. Following is not piece of cake by any means. Following is not piece of cake by any means. All right. So I want to make that point today. Until you follow, you can't be made. And if you truly followed, it will show in who your people see in you, in who your people see in you. Guess what happened in the case of Jesus? After he had left, his people went on, turning their society upside down, in quotes. And, and the same guys who were against their master saw them, and they were wondering, these guys, we used to know them. They are illiterate people. They had no capabilities. All right? Nobody listened to them. But now it's different. The way they even speak is different. The way they carry themselves is different. The way they reason is different. And they said, oh, they had been with Jesus. That means they saw their leader in them. Their leader had gone. They were now on the scene doing the job of leadership, and they saw their leader in them. How? They saw the same kind of attributes that were played out in the life of their leader in them, meaning that's what their leader transferred to them. That's the value that their leader added to them. So if you truly followed, and that's because they truly followed, that was the experience of only those who truly followed. So if you truly followed, there is what we expect to see in you. Not really you, but the one who trained you in you. That's why Jesus was saying, when Philip said to him, Philip said, Father, show us the master, and that will just be enough for us. He said, and it will suffice us. And Jesus was telling him, he said, so you mean that I have been with you all this while and you don't know me? All right? Because if you see me, you have seen the master. You don't get that. If you see me, you have seen the master. I'm a representative of the master. I'm an embodiment of the same attributes that the master carry. All right? I'm an agent, therefore, of the master. That's leadership. That's how it works. That's leadership. That's how it works. So to fully follow, you must fully commit. To follow, it involves commitment. It involves believing in the master. It involves obeying the instruction of the master. In John 1 and verse 12, he said, verse 11 says, he came unto his own. His own did not receive him. He said, but to as many as received him, he gave power to become the sons of God. He said, even to those who believed on his name. If you don't believe, you can't follow, obey instructions with the right heart, with the heart that makes it possible for you to learn from your leader. You have to fully commit. It involves believing, and it involves obedience to instructions. Obedience to instructions. We've talked about putting, the words or the instructions of your leader as topmost priority. All right. I said here, leaders transform people through the passport of following. So following is like a passport to take delivery of the transformation that your leader has to offer. All right. That the transformation your leaders have to offer. So to true followers, the leader's instructions are top priority. To true followers, they know what they are looking for. The leader's instruction are top priority. Let me close with some, additional points that will help you to understand what following really means. I said before, he said, look, you need to love me and hate others, in the sense of putting me at top priority. So you can't be my disciple if you don't love me. And to love is to obey instructions. It's to obey instructions is evidence of love. To love is to obey instructions. You see that also in in Mark 10, I believe, or Matthew 10, actually, that should be 37 to 38. He said, you can't love others more than me. If you love others more than me, you are not qualified to follow me. That's not following. And so if you are not qualified to follow, it tells you you can't benefit from me. You can't benefit from what I have to offer you. In another place, it says, look, you have to take up your cross and follow. That is, take responsibility, take full responsibility, be ready, commit, all right, with your strength, with your heart, with your soul. Okay? That's what it takes. And in Matthew 11 and verse 29, I'm going to stop here. It says, take my yoke and come and learn from me. You want to follow me? You have to be so yoked with me, that is so joined to me, that nothing can separate us. All right. And in the process, you are learning from me. In the process, you are learning from me. And learning, true learning, means you take what I say, you make every effort to understand, and most of all, you obey the instructions that I give. You obey the instructions that I give. Okay? So, essentially, that's what it takes. It is impossible for you to lead, and indeed to lead right, without first following. Following is a price that you must pay. It's the dues that you must pay in order for you to benefit from any leader, any true leader. Following is what gives you access, all right, to share in the attributes that the leader has to offer. Without that commitment expressed, that is called following, staying under a leader, being acquainted with a leader, knowing a leader, even exchanging banters with a leader, will offer you nothing. It will offer you nothing. It will offer you nothing. All right? That's why many people are disappointed that they haven't quite benefited from good leaders that they have had the privilege of working with. Because if they truly looked at the quality of their following, they were not followers. They were not true followers. Some people follow today, even looking at themselves, carrying themselves as though they know more than their leader. Some may even go to the extent of saying it. What does he know? I'm better than him. Well, the news for you is, if you are better than him, he won't be the one leading you. Another thing you should bear in mind is that if he's the leader, then the system knows that there is something in him that will do you good. And you better pay attention, to taking it and adding it to what you have. Following requires humility. To put your leader's instruction as top priority over and above that of every other, including yours, your desires, including your goals, it requires humility. The cost is huge. The price has to be paid. You should be humble about it. It's not necessarily going to be a very pleasant experience, but the end will justify the means. The end will justify the means. Somebody saw Jesus and they ran to him. He probably was excited about, what he saw, the way he spoke, the way he dealt with issues. He seemed just to be on top of everything. He says, "Sir, I'm going to follow you to anywhere." Say, "I'm going to follow you to anywhere." And he quickly cautioned him. Says, so that you understand that following is not maybe what you think. He said, foxes have holes and birds have their nests. He said, but me, your leader, the one you want to follow, the Son of Man, has nowhere to lay his head. What was he telling him? He was telling him there's a price to pay if you want to follow. Whatever it is that you have seen that constitutes an attraction, all right, in my life as the leader, you have to pay a price to access it. Once you are ready, and you commit to it, it's all yours. That's it with following. We should learn. Let me close with something. I almost forgot this. True leaders never stop following a leader. They never stop following because they're always learning. I have said every leader has a leader. Jesus never graduated from that leadership class because even while he was doing leadership, while he was leading his team, he always reminded them that, look, the things that I do are the things that I see my Father doing. The words that I'm speaking are the things I see my Father doing. All right? My Father, therefore, is the one doing the works. What was he really saying? It wasn't as if his Father was present there. He was saying, look, everything that I'm teaching you, everything that you see in me, everything that you want to get from me, I got them from somewhere. And I'm still focused on that source. I'm still focused on that source. So in our journey in life, we're going to come under different kind of leaders, and we are going to graduate to be leaders. Anytime, at any point in time, once you get into the leadership cadre, never forget that a leader still has leaders. And that means, on the one hand, you are following some leader, while on the other hand, some people are following you as a leader. It's important to make that point. And therefore, you're also continuous improvement. All right, you are in the mode of continuous improvement. You continue to improve because you are also, anchored to another leader, and therefore you are increasing even the quality of what you are passing on because you are always growing. You are always growing. That's leadership. That's leadership. And I hope that today everyone who has joined, has found something that helps, to reshape your understanding and perspective of leadership, and also to maximize the opportunity that any one of us has to follow a leader, and indeed to be able to help those who follow us in our leadership roles to also maximize what we have to offer them. This is why these kind of discussions are important. This is why they're important. They benefit leaders, they benefit followers, for the reason that every leader is still a follower, ought to still be a follower, just as people are following him. So once again, I want to thank you. It's been Leadership Monday. Like I said, we come to you every Monday, to deliver a nugget or two, or to help you do leadership right. This almost been like leadership in 30 minutes because we spent quite some time. But, like I said earlier, it's a simple concept, but you can see how deep, the discussion has been. So it's not quite so simple after all, but it's foundational as well. Otherwise, the opportunity that anyone has to interact with and indeed to follow a leader, we can bungle it. We can bungle it. Thank you. I saw many people have stayed through, all the while. I'd like to trust God. I trust God that is being beneficial to you and that you're having very significant takeaways from it. So enjoy the rest of your week and make it a date. On Thursday, it's going to be Leadership in 30 minutes. And let me see, I'm going to be speaking on something very important as well. I'm going to be speaking to the subject, be different or doomed. Be different or doomed. That's on Leadership in 30 minutes. Same time like this, 11 a.m. And I'll come to you live by the grace of God. It promises to be another exciting perspective of leadership that I'll be sharing. And, before I close, I want to encourage you to please be on the lookout for a series of programs that I'll be introducing, and I believe they will do many of us a lot of good. Many of us a lot of good. One of it is being scrolled, the character fast. The character fast, for those who are interested, is not like a spiritual fast. All right. For some people, it's usual to start the year with a spiritual fast, but many people discover that even when they undertake a spiritual fast, as you find it in Isaiah 58, that they don't get any value, they don't see any difference, and some of them are frustrated. It's like, look, but we've been fasting, why is it that you're not taking note? All right. And not knowing that the spiritual fast is not what is required. They require more a character fast, because the lack of character is what is behind the challenge of many, particularly the inability of many to perform. They lack character. In fact, the lack of character is also a hindrance to their spiritual fast, because when character is deficient, prayers will not be answered. Okay, so what many need is a character fast, which is a process of looking inwards at your character, identifying deficiencies and correcting them. And when you correct them, you see how your light will shine out of obscurity. You see how everything will change. Why? Because the things that are at the root of your challenges, not just spiritual, by the way, I'm talking of any challenge you may be facing in life as a leader, at work, wherever. Many times, examine character, not just looking out for all kinds of things. Usually is a character. You want to undertake a character fast, I recommend it. Come with me. I will show you exactly what needs to be done, and it will turn everything around. It will turn everything around. Do you know, and I'll close with this, Jesus was saying to some people, he said, the day is going to come. He said, some of you will say, Lord, Lord, and I'm going to say to you, depart from me, I don't know you. And they're going to say, but we cast out demons in your name. He said, well, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. What do you think he was saying to them? He was saying to them, you don't resemble me. You don't look like me. Your character is not like mine. All right? The problem you have is character. It's not an issue of signs and wonders. That's a means to an end. The end is who are you? Is who are you? And that's really the key behind what you are capable of achieving in life. He asked Peter, he said, who do men say that I am? And then he asked them, he said, who do you say that I am? Because that's the most important question. Who are you? And he wasn't asking them if they knew his name. No, he was asking them about his character. His character. So that's what I believe many need. And hopefully, I'll post the link in the description, at some point. And I look forward to seeing you there. So enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget, Leadership in 30 Minutes on Thursday, we'll be speaking on Be Different or Doomed. And please, share the link, share these episodes with others. If they have benefited you, don't be the only one to enjoy them. As they say, the sky is too big. We all can fly, and we all can fly high. If it's been a blessing to you, out of love, share with others. Enjoy the rest of your day. I've enjoyed every minute of the session we've had today. And once again, I'm grateful for giving me audience, for listening to this voice. And I pray that this week, God will show up for you in a special way, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. I pray that you receive grace to follow, to identify good leaders, and to commit to them in following. And that way, you also become not just a good leader, but an increasingly better leader as you maintain that disposition. God bless you. Bye-bye.